Hello friends, I am Dr. Kuldeep Mohadikar. In this video, I will present my 36th chapter entitled as Matthew Arnold as a nature poet from my series Literary Pearls. Nature occupies a prominent role in Arnold's poetry. He does not, however, conceive nature as a presence living, as the romantic poets like Wordsworth and Shelley, nor does he mix myths and see dryads in woods, naiads in streams, Enthia in moor, as Keats does, even though Arnold is a great lover of nature and Greek mythology. Arnold loves nature for its beauty of nature and Greek mythology. Arnold loves nature for its beauty and charm, for its sensuous appeal, as Keats does. He believes with Wordsworth that nature affords great relief to the troubled human minds. Hugh Walker rightly observed, I quote, Wordsworth live and think with the hills for sole companions, but Arnold never rest in nature alma, I unquote. For Arnold, secret of nature was not joy, but the peace of mere acquired sense of joy, and only joy of the stars as they perform their appointed shining. Arnold does not learn moral lesson from nature because he was born up and bred up in an atmosphere of science and critical inquiry, and therefore he could not look nature through the poetic colors of his own moods. If nature teaches him any lesson, it is the lesson of labor. I unquote. One lesson, nature, let be lesson of thee, one lesson which in every wind in blown, of toil unsevered from tranquility of labor, that in lushing fruit is grown. I unquote. Arnold frequently contrasts the performance of nature with transitoriness of human life. She has no sympathy and compassion of man's suffering a tragedy. She is relentless, apathetic, and inexorable. Thus, nature force devoid of any morality and totally indifferent to human suffering. This is beautifully shown at the close of Sohrab and Rustam. Rustam unknowingly kills his own son Sohrab and weeps over his dead body. But the river Oxus remains totally unaffected by this intense tragedy and continues to flow onwards, rejoicing. But the majestic river floated on out of mist and hum of that lowland into the frosty starlight, and there moved, rejoicing through the hushed Charismen west under the solitary moon. This thought concerning the transitoriness of human life and the performance of nature runs through Dor Beach. Arnold's observation towards nature are more accurate than every nature poet, those of Wordsworth, Shelley, Tennyson, and Keats. He has the unerring eye of the scientist in the presence of the objects of nature. He dwells on each object of nature with quiet joy in her beauty, color, form, or sound. The accuracy of Arnold is admirable. I unquote. Nor is it in respect to flowers alone that Arnold is accurate. Mountains, lakes, roads, rivers are all located and portrayed with precision. The foundation of this accuracy is seen in the loving minuteness with which in his letter note the facts of nature. I unquote. Arnold sparks affectionately in his poems of birds and flowers. He has completed poem on Philomelia. The other birds that he lovingly introduces in his poetry are swallow, the rook, nightingale, blackbird, and cuckoo and Philomela. He asked a question to the bird if the beauty of nature cannot give any consolation in her grief, and as the flowers, the cowslip and the daffodil, the white and purple fritillaries, and sweet William and blonde meadowsweet, the mayflower and the primrose brighten and perfume Arnold's poetry. Arnold's description of rivers, Arnold's description of rivers is in equally delightful. The Thames, the Nile, the Ar, the Fon, the Oxus, the Helmand, the Kohik are some of the important rivers that figure in Arnold's poetry. In addition to lakes and seas, they are introduced to brighten and beautify the background. Arnold's landscape and objects of nature have a symbolic faith. In Sohrab and Rustam, oxus is symbol of endless life. The single elm in Thyrsis symbolizes the calmness of nature to, in conflict to the human nature or human life of cities. Beautiful picture of the Oxford countryside from the scholar Gypsy is reflecting as following. I quote: through the thick corn, the skullful poppies peep, and round green roads and yellowing roots and yellowing stalks, pale pink convolvulus. In land drills I see creep, and air swept lindens yield of bloom on the bent grass where I am laid. I unquote. Arnold loves soft and subdued colors. It has been aptly said that it is not a brightness of moonlight, but moonlight which attracts him. It is his melancholy which determines his preference for pale colors, soft leaves, and subdued sounds for moonlight effect and for the hum of brooding mountain bee. Sohrab and Rustam opens in the first grey of misty morn, Thyrsis on a warm winter eve, Rugby Chapel on a cold autumn evening, and Dower Beach on a calm moonlight night. The color attract the poet on a calm moonlight night. The poet is attracted again towards the soft colors grey and pale rather than yellow and red and clear in the grey peace of evening above the musical but bewildered murmurings of a twilight forest. Arnold, as a poet of nature, is many other things besides, was profoundly influenced by Wordsworth. Levison believed that Wordsworth, Birdwing Levison says that Wordsworth seems to have determined Arnold's standard of poetic excellence. Dr. Arnold and Wordsworth were friends and lived in close proximity in the Lake District. Like Wordsworth, he does not find in nature a divine and saintly being true. There are Wordsworthian echoes in his poetry, but he differs from Wordsworth. According to Grierson and Smith, I quote, Arnold was a devoted Wordsworthian, but his view of nature was not Wordsworth's. I unquote. But whatever may be his views, he believes that man may come and man may go, but nature goes on forever. That is why he says, in the youth of man, we nature depart, thou survivest us. This I know is the law. So this was all about from my side on Arnold as a nature poet.